Welcome to our presentation on biomes. Biomes are large geographical regions with similar temperature, precipitation, and plant communities. They occur in three general regions: the polar above 60 degrees north and below 60 degrees south, the temperate between 20 and 60 degrees north and south, and the equator, which is 20 degrees south and 20 degrees north. Biomes are determined by climate, temperature and precipitation, latitude, altitude. You can get the same look at the top of a mountain. It's maybe snow covered year round. That's like a polar. If that mountain is near the equator, the base of it would have equatorial kinds of biomes associated with it, and halfway up would be more like the temperate rainforests. Ocean currents can affect the climate, prevailing winds, onshore, offshore, soil types, and mountain ranges, physical geography. The Pacific coast of the United States gets a lot of rain because as that water or the wind off the moist oceans hits the mountains, it drops that. Just over the mountains on the other side, deserts. Altitude affect biomes, ocean temperatures. These are some of the things we're going to be covering: prevailing winds, soil types, and mountains. Biomes are based on precipitation and temperature. Precipitation wise, deserts generally get less than 10% a year, grasslands between 10 and 30, and forests over 30 inches per year. Here's just a quick look at some different biomes of the earth. Color coded: tundra is up the north where there's too short a growing season for trees. North of that is polar, pretty much snow covered. Some vast areas of deserts around the equator. You get either deserts or rainforests pretty much. It's interesting. It's warm, so it's very tropical rainforest or desert. A lot of rain, not much rain, and some of the others in between. They have different habitat types. Biomes are not uniform throughout. They include unique plant communities which vary with latitude and other physical differences within a biome. Coastal temperate rainforest, like in the Pacific Northwest, gets a lot of rain, but it's cooler. So it's a rainforest, but it's cooler as opposed to a tropical rainforest. The prairie pothole region is in northern Canada, where some unique features are: a lot of potholes, a lot of high ground table. So it's a great place for migratory birds to raise their young in the summer. And southern pine forest, you normally wouldn't see pines down by Georgia, but because of the sandy soil, that affects what can grow there, and the pines, which are a little bit better at conserving water, grow there even though it's warmer and it rains a lot, but that rain goes right down through the sand and disappears, not available for the plants. Here's just some biomes of North America. You can kind of see the yellow grasslands. The taiga is the dark green in the north. The pine forests. Above that is the tundra in the kind of a lightish gray. We're in the deciduous forest of different types in Wisconsin. That southern pines is that kind of a brownish area down by Florida and Georgia. So there's a lot of different biomes even here just in North America, mountain ranges and so on. There's a key to a few of them, what the numbers mean up at the top. Temperate deciduous forest is the biome where we live. Woodlots, generally trees with leaves, deciduous trees, again, would be getting more than 30 inches of rain a year, and have a growing season that would allow the leafy trees to grow. The boreal forest, the taiga, spruce moose they call it, this is an area where the growing season is too short for leafy trees, so we end up with mostly pines, a lot of spruce, and it's in the upper in Canada. Again, the difference here between deciduous is the growing season's too short to support leafy trees, which have to lose their leaves in fall and grow them back in spring. So if the growing season's too short, a tree that keeps its needles, even though the needles aren't nearly as good as leaves, a tree that keeps its needles will do better than a tree that loses them and gains them and takes a month or so on both ends to lose photosynthesis time. A desert, less than 10 inches of precipitation a year. Very dry. The plants and animals that live there have to adapt to a very arid climate, and a lot of times very hot. Although there are a few deserts that are in cooler regions. The tundra is a polar grassland, too far north for any trees to grow. The ground is generally never gives up its frost, its frozen condition. Huge mosquito populations, great for the very short growing season that migratory shorebirds come up. There's 24 hours of daylight. Life is just exploding for about 6 weeks. Perfect to raise your little babies, get them fat and ready to fly south. Tropical rainforest, your Amazon basin and the Nile basin, Central Africa, two different areas of the world, lots of different species living, but it's very similar in that they are adapted to warm and very moist climate. Savanna is a grassland home to some of the greatest grazing animals in the world. Interesting thing about a savanna is that it gets about 2 months a year of rain, like a tropical rainforest, and then 10 months a year like a desert. So the animals and plants that live here have to adapt to times of very heavy rains and then long periods of no rains. Chaparral is an arid desert scrub creosote brush. Italy and some areas in the U.S. western areas will have this arid but cooler desert. The Great Plains of North America and the Pampas of Argentina, the grasslands, tremendous for, in the past, bison and other grazing animals, now for growing our wheat and raising cattle. Now, what match the animal where it lives in its biome? African lion, white-tailed deer, savanna, white-tailed deer and gray squirrel, tropical rainforest, I mean the deciduous forest. This isn't working. I have to step through this every time. So your muskox and polar bear in the tundra. Okay, moose and common loon more in the boreal forest, the pine forest of Canada. Camel and rattlesnake in a desert. The toucan and jaguar in a tropical rainforest. And finally, the buffalo and pronghorn antelope in the temperate grasslands.